Good afternoon, Melissa. Thank you for joining us today and being willing to come in and meet with us. While we're getting settled here, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you. I appreciate having the opportunity to get to know a little bit more about the position and to share with you why I feel I would be a very good fit for it. I have been in the world of grants more or less for about the last 7 years, and I have spent the last four of it in the university grants office here, and the last year as the interim director. And so I have some direct experience in this role and dealing with the many complexities both on the federal level, looking at grants and trying to find funding for faculties and staff's projects with scarce resources, being as they are with the current federal economic situation. And I've also done quite a bit of work on an interpersonal basis with the faculty and staff on campus, building some great relationships that I would love to continue to nourish in this particular role. And before that, I actually worked for a nonprofit organization as part of their foundation in town that served adults with disabilities. And so that's a particular cause that's particularly near to my heart, and also exposed me to the world of grants from the private nonprofit perspective. So I think I have the benefit of realizing what it takes to look for grant funding on the smaller local scale, as well as what it takes to look for more broadly purposed projects on the academic scale. And I really do have a passion for higher education, both in professional, from the professional stance of having worked in it for the last several years, but I'm also currently invested in it on a personal level because I'm enrolled in a master's program. I'm pursuing my master's of arts in organizational leadership, which I think dovetails really nicely into this position as far as the leadership responsibilities and learning how to share the lead with others and create a collaborative team environment. And I'm looking forward to bringing those skills to their greatest application in this particular position.
All right. Another question that I have for you is why are you interested in the position of the University Grants Office Director?
What I've really come to appreciate about the University Grants Office and being a part of that team in the last several years is that it enables me to engage in a broad number of projects across campus and work with faculty and staff in the areas of interest that are really a passion for them. And so it makes coming into the office every day a great day when you're talking to someone about what they're really passionate about and how you can help them bring those ideas to fruition. And that has been, I think, one of the most motivating factors for me wanting to pursue a leadership position in this office and try to play the largest role possible in helping people's ideas come to be reality.
All right, Melissa, why don't you tell me about a time where you felt you went above and beyond the call of duty at your job and how you handled it?
I actually had a recent example that I'd like to share with you, and it was politically difficult, but I like to think that I played a role in smoothing over the political disruptions that were interrupting people's ability to complete their jobs. And this involved a faculty member who had a grant that was awarded, so he was thrilled with that, but then came to find that there were university policies that were limiting his ability to actually get paid from this grant even though he had already done the work for it. And so he approached one administrative team who told him that he needed to talk to the financial services office. And so he did that, and they told this faculty member that they instead need to talk to our office. which he did. And unfortunately, it wasn't within my power to do what he would have liked me to do and get him paid. But rather than pass him on to the first person, who is actually who we needed to talk to, I offered to be his advocate and to facilitate that communication process. And so I took, although it's not technically in my job description, I made sure that I put my customer first. In this case, it was the faculty member, and did what I needed to do to resolve that situation and get him paid. And ultimately, we were able to do that, and I was able to get that done in the timely fashion it needed to be. And even though I didn't play a direct role in the process, I was the facilitator of that communication. And I like to think of myself as a person that is able to make things happen even if I don't have the direct power to do it myself. I am resourceful and will take it upon myself to help people get done what they need to get done.
If I had to ask your friends how to describe you, what do you think their answer would be?
I think my friends would describe me as an excellent listener. I am on the introverted side, and so I am not a big talker, but I like to think that that plays a nice role in making me a better listener. So rather than fill the conversational void with my own thoughts, I do like to hear what other people have to say and really hear their ideas rather than just pretending that I do. And I like to think that that plays an important role in the professional setting as well, because particularly in the grants office, where there can be some really difficult political situations when people aren't able to do the projects that they're hoping to do due to some cumbersome university or federal policies, I'm able to hear what their problem is and draw out the information I need to best help them rather than prescribing what I think they need to do to fix their issue. And so that listening is an important factor in how I conduct my relationships on a personal and professional level.
Melissa, can you describe for me a specific accomplishment that you've achieved in a previous position that would indicate that you will thrive in this position?
In my previous position, where I served as a grant writer for the nonprofit organization that served adults with disabilities, there was the intention to expand the services provided in the work center that we had on site that allowed individuals with severe developmental and physical disabilities to work. And the intent was to add some types of production that would extend the available positions within the work center, but there was no clear vision to how they were going to go about doing this. But they knew they needed some grant funding to do this, and so I led a team of members from throughout the organization to develop a vision for this program. And ultimately, I needed to know what it was so that I could write a grant for it, but I ended up developing the vision and strategic plan for the work center itself. And I'm not from the human services field. My degree is in English, and my background professionally was in development. And so I wasn't necessarily a designer of work centers for people with disabilities, but I effectively became a facilitator for a team that developed the vision for this project. And I think in this position I would add the benefit to the university grants office of being resourceful and being able to think on my feet and bring the people together that need to be brought together to bring a particular project to its completion. And I'm a good facilitator, I think, is what I'm trying to say, and those are skills that will serve me well in this role as well.
Melissa, where do you think you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I would love to see myself in the leadership role in the grants office, and being able to lead the campus in expanding its grants activity beyond where the traditional grant activity has been in the past. And right now it's really heavily in the sciences, but I would love to see more faculty in the humanities seeking these grants so that we can really broaden the scholarly research and creative activities being done on our campus, and I would love to play a leadership role in that process. I also see myself as the mother of a 7-year-old, so on a personal level that will be rather exciting, as well as to be the mother of a first grader. I don't know what that will look like at this point, but in addition, I do also foresee myself being several years after finishing my master's degree, and I see that the skills that I've gained from the program that I'm currently enrolled in and will in 5 years be directly applying, being a great benefit to my leadership position and informing how I work with others and create a collaborative environment, and how we go about accomplishing some really important projects on this campus that couldn't be something that I do alone, but can be something that I would love to help facilitate using those skills that I am acquiring in the master's program.
Melissa, do you think that a leader should be feared or liked, and why?
Well, let me start off by saying that I do not invest in the Machiavellian approach to leadership. So I do not believe it is valuable for a leader to be feared. I do think there is value to being liked as a leader and building those interpersonal relationships. With that being said, I also think it's important to, as a leader, be able to draw the line between personal and professional and be able to step back from those relationships that have been built and hopefully are strong with your coworkers, and be able to step back when necessary and make those tough decisions that a leader has to make that are not always popular, and be able to make decisions that you need to make for the benefit of everyone, the benefit of the university and the organization, but may not necessarily be ones that the people you work with like on a day in and day out basis. So I do think it's important to be liked, in that it's important to have strong interpersonal relationships with the people with whom you work on a daily basis, but to not lose sight of the ultimate purpose of the group as a whole, and that is to work for the betterment of the organization as a whole.
What type of work environment do you prefer to work in, and why?
I personally prefer to work in an environment with a small core group of coworkers with whom I have the opportunity to build a really strong working relationship with, and I find that helps us to be the most effective as a team because we're familiar with each other's abilities and expertise. I also like to work in an environment with vague, complex problems because I enjoy solving a good puzzle, and I think the grants office is that type of environment, and I would value the opportunity to be a part of it as a leader.
What are you looking for in terms of career development?
One of my primary career goals is to be in a position where I can do the greatest amount of good with the skills that I've been able to acquire over my career thus far, and also through the master's program that I'm currently enrolled in. And I see that position being one of leadership, and I think in particular my communication skills on a written and verbal level, and my understanding of how to bring people together is something that could be best put to use in the university grants office.
Melissa, right now we can offer you a starting salary of $54,000, including a full benefits package. You will also have access to 1 week of vacation after your 6-month probationary period. How does this sound to you?
I think that sounds like a very strong start, and I would like the opportunity to revisit that level of compensation after my 6 month probationary period, after I think you'll have had an opportunity to assess the value that I'm adding to the organization and to the office in particular. And I will also be much closer to completing my master's program, and I do think that that would add a level of extra value for the office in terms of the leadership skills that I bring into play. And so I would like to graciously accept the offer that you're extending and ask that we revisit those figures and benefits at the 6 month mark.